Welcome to the news and why it matters. Happy Friday. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Joined with me today, we've got Chief Researcher of the Glenn Beck radio program, Jason Buttrell. Yes, we've got theblaze.com's own Aaron Colin back with us. Double dose of Aaron today. Yes, love it. And we've got conservative commentator Grant Stinchfield in as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Good to be here.
Of course, we're starting the weekend a little bit early with our Friday beers.
You remembered this time, awesome.
I did, and we had a little switcheroo going on with the Michelob and the Shiner. There's a little bit of a fight.
Yours are all open. Mine wasn't open.
Yeah, you got to open it. All right, Jason, what's your top story today?
Two things going down this week. One in the UK surrounding Tommy Robinson and the social media forum, or whatever that was called.
No, I said top story.
They're both part of my one story. How they're related and what that means.
Okay, all right, Aaron.
The Democrats have chosen a challenger for Mitch McConnell, and she's not off to a great start. And she lost in 2018, but they think she can do something bigger.
Oh, I can't wait to get into this. All right, Grant.
And mine is more evidence of liberals' weak on crime, specifically the city of Dallas, but it shows a much larger problem across the country of why this matters to everyday folks about how outrageous they're getting when it comes to coddling criminals.
All right. Obviously, we've got a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, realestateagentsitrust.com. So I know that there are a lot of real estate agents out there. Some of them might plaster their face on like a bench where you go and sit your rear end when you wait for the bus. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's probably not the best way to pick your real estate agent. Neither is finding the guy with their face on the billboard, or picking a random person on Google or the phone book, if anyone still has those. But you can go to realestateagentsitrust.com. Glenn founded this website because he's in the radio industry. He moves around all the time, and he was seeing what the top real estate agents had in common. So his team actually vets all these real estate agents all across the world. They vet them for their experience. They make sure that these are the people who do this full time, who have the knowledge underneath their belts to be able to move you and your family to a home that you guys are going to love, that you're going to get the best value, and more importantly, that you're going to feel safe. You can go to realestateagentsitrust.com. Like I said, they've got agents all across the country, so they've got one where you're located. If you are looking to buy or sell, go there now. All right, Jason.
Tommy
Robinson. You and your double stories.
I'll get around to the point. You know me. I'll
eventually
get there. Tommy Robinson. I'm not going to go into Tommy Robinson, the man. He's polarizing. A lot of people believe different things on one side and the other.
And can I interject for a second? Aaron, I read your piece that's up on theblaze.com right now about Tommy Robinson and who he is and kind of breaking down all of this. So I just wanted to interject and just say, all the viewers, if you guys have not seen that yet, you got to go to theblaze.com and read it. It really is truly eye-opening. Sorry, Jason, continue.
But I'm not going to go anywhere near that.
Yes.
What I'm going to focus on is what was happening outside. Right. What was happening outside was it was insane. I think we actually have a little bit of footage of that. There was brawling. There was people just, acting like that, throwing equipment and pummeling each other with it. People are pissed in the UK. People are pissed in the EU. Let's say you absolutely just hate what Tommy Robinson stands for. Let's say you're in that boat. There never would have been a Tommy Robinson if the governments in the European Union or the UK wouldn't have let the situation get to where it's at right now. And whether it's a policy of just censorship in general, that they do not want to even say the words Islamic terrorism, they do not want to talk about the dangers of people coming into their country completely, unfettered, just open borders, coming in from places that, they don't view your citizens as human beings. They really don't. They can do whatever they want to them. If you don't let people have a voice and say, this is why we're scared of them, then Tommy Robinson is exactly what you get. People outside going crazy, pissed off that you're not listening to them, that's exactly what you're going to get. Now, shifting gears to the second story here, what happened with the social media forum. It's kind of funny to me that we even have to have a need for this, really, right now. The reason we have to have a need for a forum like this is because, again, we have people that feel like they're not being listened to, whether it's coming from the mainstream media, big tech social media companies, what have you. They're not giving a voice to the people that are saying, like, these things scare us. kind of like the Islamic extremism thing happening in the UK right now. Like, look, you're not paying attention to us. We are scared of these things. We believe in fiscal responsibility. We believe in the rule of law. We believe in all these things that the mainstream media is just not covering. In the UK, it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like a government mandate at this point, that they're like, we're not even going to talk about these things because we believe in open borders. We believe in all these progressive policies. Over here, it's private companies doing it. And the one thing that I think that has in common is government. Really, it's not the government is not mandating this at this point because they really can't. But it's their problem when they got into when they did the Decency Act to begin with, when they added in that 230 clause that basically just let these social media companies, give them all this power, but not have to worry about repercussions at all. So they assumed that they were going to be biased. They assumed that these things were going to happen. But now they're in trouble because they're finding out, they obviously are, very, very biased. They are not adhering to the rules of the platform versus publisher. So government involvement is always a bad thing. The only government involvement I want to see, as far as where it's here right now with the big tech companies, is I think the government should get in and say, okay, yes, we screwed up. We're striking 230. Big tech companies, you guys are on your own. You guys are on your own. I don't care if you're worried about being litigated against, sued, whatever. Figure it out. If you can't figure it out, there's another company that's going to come and take your place, and they'll figure it out.
And I know that over in the UK, it's a little bit different because when you talk about the BBC and everything, that these are all directly tied to the government. But as far as here goes, what I was most shocked about, and I guess I shouldn't be shocked anymore because we all know what the mainstream media really is in this country, but at this social media summit that you're discussing, Jason, there was a CNN reporter who said some really shocking things, and then, you know what? Let me just let you watch.
Don't be sad. Don't be sad.
No, I'm just standing around. This is a group of people that are eager for demonic possession.
Demonic possession?
You're a journalist, right?
Hey, come on over here and talk to me, brother. We can go outside and have a long conversation.
You're threatening me now in the White House. In the Rose Garden. You're threatening me in the Rose Garden.
Get him!
You are a punk. You're not a journalist. You're a punk.
Go home. Journalist, go home. Hey, Gorka, get a job.
Hey, just for the record, he'd kick your punk ass.
Now, I mean, that was funny at the end. But a CNN reporter standing outside where these people are at the White House and saying these people are eager for demonic possession. Doesn't that just show you what the state is of journalism?
All of it. So I used to work in mainstream TV for 20-something years. I was an investigative reporter, came up through the NBC system. I like to think when I started, journalism was what it was. We were going out trying to find both sides of the story and just tell it, right? Now, that's what you get. People hungry to make a name for themselves. They know that the personality is the one that's going to make the most money. They push their ideology on all of us. To behave like that in the Rose Garden, first off, I don't know how you call yourself a journalist, because you should call yourself a kindergartner, because you're acting like a little baby.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And I would think his bosses should be ashamed of him. They probably love the publicity, though,
Yes.
CNN.
Yes.
This is what they're hungry for. Look at Jim Acosta. He constantly calls for more attention, and CNN loves it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point on Jim Acosta retweeted a tweet that specifically left out what Brian Karem said, specifically left out the demonic possession part. It just was a tweet that said, can you believe Gorka walked over there and called him a punk and did all these things? Can you believe that happened? Completely left out the fact that this reporter was over there instigating this entire situation, and Jim Acosta, of course, perpetuated that.
And remember, the reporter said, hey, meet me outside,
Yes.
basically.
Direct threat.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
Aaron?
it's amazing that reporters feel emboldened to go to the White House and behave like that. And
Yes.
it kind of shows the culture to where people can be so antagonistic to what is viewed as a conservative group of people. They feel like they can just talk to them any sort of way. They feel like they can be advocates, they can be activists, and they're not there to check their bias at the door and just report on what's going on, which is presumably why they were sent there, but they're making themselves a part of the story, and it's just not what it's supposed to be.
They are making themselves the story, not even just a part of the story, the story. Jason?
I think it's hilarious how threatened they now are. And I think they're screwed. I think they know that they're screwed. And I'm talking about mainstream outlets, because, I mean, they saw this when Fox News came and had the audacity to actually, represent the other 50% of America. How dare they? The one network. There was a gazillion other networks all had the same viewpoint, but one came and threatened them. But now, so that's been the source for all the vitriol. But now it's like there's all these, with technology, there's the rise of BlazeTV, all these other outlets, all the people that showed up there that also threaten or have the means, they have the voice to be able to threaten or provide a counter narrative to what they're saying, and they're absolutely scared to death.
I think I saw a story that said of the most recent stories about Democratic presidential candidates, a large majority of them that are going viral are coming from conservative media outlets. It's showing that there is a real audience for these conservative outlets like us that are threatening the mainstream outlets that are just giving one narrative, one side of the story.
Where I think the media is missing the boat right now is I think the American people are onto them. Yeah. President Trump was very helpful in that, but it's been a narrative among conservative circles for a long time. It may not have been called fake news, but you call it the devious media, the deceitful media, whatever it is, they push this narrative that right now happens to be anti-Trump. But for the last decade at least, probably more, it had been anti-conservative. And if you have anything to do with conservative principles, the media was going to be after you.
Yeah. One more note on this this summit. So they were not done with Sebastian Gorka. They, again, making themselves the story, making themselves the victim, the media. They cornered him outside afterwards, and they asked him about blocking people on Twitter. Yeah, this is what we're talking about now in 2019 in mainstream media. Watch.
Mr. Gorka, if you believe in not blocking anybody, that everybody should have a fair chance, you block me,
I don't.
You block
I block
hundreds
whoever I
and
want to.
hundreds.
I block 16,000 people.
Why?
Because they're asshats. That's why.
Am I an asshat?
If I blocked you, yeah.
It's very relatable. That's how we all feel on
Yes,
Twitter.
yes.
It is.
Why is it now not okay? Why is that the story now that poor media underlings are getting blocked by Sebastian Gorka? If they've always got to make themselves the story and the victim.
That is classic Sebastian Gorka, and I've been privileged enough to start to become friends with him, and he is a brilliant, brilliant man. And I'll tell you, he calls it like it is, and they are asshats, which is why he blocks them, because he doesn't want to be trolled by them. I've not blocked anybody on Twitter. I let it all go. You know what? Because it doesn't bother me.
Right.
I don't care what the left thinks about me. I don't care 1 ounce what they think about me, so they can have at it. The truth matters, and nothing triggers like truth.
Amen. All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be back. Just like, you're really asking him why he blocked you? All right, Aaron, you said Mitch McConnell's new challenger, she's had some stumbles already.
Already, 1 week into the campaign, she started off, the first thing, we're talking about Amy McGrath. She's a former, I believe, Marine fighter pilot who ran for Congress in 2018. She lost, but now they think she lost a House race. She can beat Mitch McConnell in the Senate. Her first act was to have to explain why she compared Donald Trump's election to 9/11. And essentially that boiled down to her saying, well, they were both unexpected things. Oh, gosh. Yeah, nobody expected these things to happen. But yeah, she said she felt like it was 9/11 when Donald Trump was elected. So that was her first thing she had to explain.
From a Marine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing in itself.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And so then she comes out in an interview, I believe it was in a Louisville paper, and she said, I would have voted for Brett Kavanaugh to be confirmed. She said, I don't see anything that would be disqualifying about him. Ooh. As a Democrat, that's really controversial for her.
That is suicide as a Democrat.
So later in the same day, she came out with some tweets, and she went back on that. And she said, actually, now I've looked more into his record, and I would not have voted for him. Now, keep in mind, Brett Kavanaugh, that happened a while ago. So what did she find out on Wednesday about Brett Kavanaugh that she didn't know then? But she even came and apologized basically for that stand. She said, I know I disappointed many today with my initial answer on how I would have voted on Brett Kavanaugh. That just shows Democratic pressure got to her, and she had to backtrack on that. And so it's kind of weird. She's trying to run as sort of like a pro-Trump Democrat because of the state that she's in, to where she says, I will be the one to get Donald Trump's agenda pushed through more than Mitch McConnell. But at the same time, she thinks it was 9/11 when he got elected. So she's trying to play it both ways. It's not a great start for somebody who's trying to take out the Senate Majority Leader.
Well, and I mean, what is with this trend of Democrats? They keep putting up these candidates that keep showing that they can't win. I mean, you've got Stacey Abrams, who lost, and then they had her give the rebuttal for the State of the Union.
She was thinking about running for president for a while.
Yes. It's like, well, and then you've got Robert Francis O'Rourke, our good buddy.
He's doing real well, right?
Right. I mean, he lost his race here, and then they thought, oh, I know, I'll run for president instead.
Yeah, it's like they pick these people and they just, for some reason, they see something in them that I don't think anybody else sees, not even their own voters see, but they anoint these people and they get stuck with it.
It sounds like she's taking the Beto O'Rourke model of be everything to all people, whatever the crowd that you're with thinks, and that's what you're going to say. And it turns out that she just seems like she's dumb when it comes to what she's saying.
Yeah, I don't think she knows what she believes. She's just trying to please whoever she's in front of at the moment, and that results in nothing.
There's a lot of these big like super PACs that are pushing these candidates as well. Like Stacey Abrams had heavy backing with Democracy. Do you guys know Democracy Alliance? They're insane progressive nutballs that also happen to have like $500 billion that they've spent, I think, and that's a whole other jar, ball of wax there. But the dark money that they always accuse us of, they are the worst perpetrators of that right now. Oh my gosh! But I know Democracy Alliance is pushing Stacey Abrams for some weird reason. There's another big PAC that is pushing. They're getting any veteran that they can get their hands on that might be progressive or far left, and they're putting them into heavy Republican areas and just running them as veterans, or like former. I have not looked into this woman, but I would not be surprised at all if
that sounds like what it is, whether she's involved in that or that organization or not. That sounds like what this is. She fits a prototype that they think can win in that.
And that's actually very scary, and that's what everyone needs to look at. Like local elections, they're doing this a lot. They're getting someone that kind of sounds flashy, let's say Marine fighter pilot or whatever, and they're hardcore progressive, but they're making them run in locations like, I don't know, small town Texas that's heavily, deeply red. But whoever looks at to see, and they're actually, a lot of times they're running them as Republicans, and Justice Democrats, the people that got AOC elected.
In many of the city races, it's a non-partisan race, even though we all know they're partisan, but you don't have labels. So you run the Marine fighter pilot in a race where you're not running Democrat or Republican. Well, I'm going to vote for the Marine fighter pilot, right? But meanwhile, like you said, they're a hardcore progressive.
When's the last time you actually looked and actually cared about what was on the ballot for like your local congressman? Or like the local district attorney or whatever. We don't ever look at that. You just check R. You know what I mean? That's.
I look at it, Jason.
Oh, of course you do.
Don't
of course
speak
you
for
do.
me.
Well, everyone at the table here does. But.
All right, Grant. I want to move on to what's going on here in Dallas.
All right. So this is a good reason why you should look at those issues locally. So this issue is not just going on in Dallas; it's going on across the country. And Dallas County in Texas, which Dallas was a conservative city for a long time. It is no longer. I know that comes as a surprise to most people around the country. It is not a conservative city now. It's a very liberal city.
Still the Beto signs that were here during that. Oh my gosh!
Everywhere.
In really nice neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to keep your home? Do you want to be poor now?
You know how you got to where you're at?
Right. So Dallas County does a study about how can they eliminate the, quote, tax on the poor tax, which happens to be criminal fines and fees. So if you're convicted of a crime and you're charged a fine for that or have to pay court fees for that, Dallas says we should do away with those. That's a tax on the poor. Now, in the newspaper article in the Dallas Morning News, they cite as a credible asset to this idea San Francisco. San Francisco has done this. Now look at what's happened with San Francisco. It's a hellhole, anyone that lives there. So now Dallas wants to do away with fines and fees for criminals, thinking it's somehow discriminatory against poor people. Last I checked, if you're convicted of a crime, you're a criminal. It has nothing to do with whether you're rich or poor. You broke the law. And so they are actively pushing this, and this is going on across the country as they try to do away with criminals by just not calling them criminals anymore. Doesn't mean the crime goes away. It just means we don't convict people or punish people anymore. And so what happens? Crime flourishes.
Yeah, well, and I mean, to that point, just recently in Dallas, that what they said that they wanted to stop charging people for theft as long as it was under, $750 or something like that, and it was something that could benefit them. It was some sort of criteria that was like, well, stealing's okay if.
I live in East Dallas, and I had a bike stolen off my back porch. The guy scaled a 10-foot fence to steal my bike, and I've got it all on video. That bike was not worth $750. If he's caught and he says, well, I needed that bike to go get food or transportation for my job, the district attorney, a Democrat in Dallas, says He should not be charged with a crime, and in fact, they're not going to charge him with a crime because he needed that. Now, it's mine. It's not his. I paid for it. He didn't.
Wait, but he needed it.
But he needed it.
Well, how about you need it too?
Amazing.
It really is. This economic justice that's going on. And not just that, but Aaron, we're really seeing it nationwide, right? We've got people coming in from the border, that we've got an entire political party who says that they should not be treated as if they just broke the law, even though they just walked over illegally.
Yeah, it's weird how the logic goes that if you lessen penalties, that people will somehow not commit crimes. I mean, they won't be crimes anymore, so you can say there's less crime, semantically, but it's incentivizing people to say, well, let me make sure my crime is below $750. Or let me just do this thing because, okay, it's a cost-benefit analysis to where you say, oh, it's not so bad if I get caught, so it's worth the risk for me to do it. And obviously that's going to just incentivize more crime. I mean,
This is exactly what happened in Parkland, Florida, with the shooter there. The Obama administration says we're not going to discipline children anymore because we don't want outrageous numbers of minorities disciplined. And what happened was they ended up not officially disciplining anybody. And so where the shooter had so many complaints against him, so many issues against him, under Obama administration rules, under federal guidelines, they did not do anything with this kid because they didn't want to have higher numbers of any kind of criminal activity or bad activity among students. And so that's how far this stuff goes. To the point where it'll affect 17 people dying because you're weak on crime or bad behavior.
Jason, you want to weigh in?
When do people just call them out? It's so obvious that they're just trying to buy votes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's so obviously that's all they're trying to do. I mean, if you just change the wording of some of the things they said, it would actually be a federal crime. I mean, they're basically saying, we're going to forgive all student debt. We're trying to buy off all the millennials that are now having to pay on student loans.
Right.
Right here, we're just gonna. Don't worry about paying all these fines and all that stuff. We're buying you off now as well.
Clay Jenkins, who happens to be the county judge in Dallas, said, we need a criminal justice system that works for everyone and one that does not discriminate on people based on poverty. Now, I don't know how it's discriminating because they're criminals. He goes on to say, what we don't want is someone choosing between daycare and a fee. What I don't want is someone choosing between committing a crime and then, well, I'm going to commit it because I don't have to pay a fee if I commit the crime.
Right.
The law is pretty black and white. It's it's not like...
It's pretty discriminatory to say just poor people are committing crimes.
100%.
I mean, that's pretty discriminatory. I mean, if I'm a poor person in Dallas, I'm like, excuse me? Why are you calling me a
all poor people
criminal?
are not criminals. Like some people are just law-abiding citizens who don't have a lot of money.
And not all rich people are law-abiding.
Right.
You got
Right.
look, a criminal's a criminal. I don't care what color you are. I want you prosecuted.
And a lot of times when you arrest somebody, you don't know how much money they have. You just see that they're committing a crime. I mean, that's where it starts.
Yeah, you're not like, okay, let me see your
check your bank
checkbook.
account.
Yeah, let me open your wallet. How many credit cards do you have? Did
So
you
this
commit a
is
crime?
Dallas. So think about what cities have done this. We talked about San Francisco. You've got homelessness out the wazoo there. You got people going to the bathroom on the streets in downtown San Francisco, Baltimore, Detroit, all of these cities, Chicago.
They have places you can go and shoot up, and it's legal.
And it's
for
legal.
crying out loud.
Yeah, dispose of your needle very cleanly in a Starbucks bathroom or something like that.
Or the street.
Get that out of Dallas. We don't want it here. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
Oh, wow.
Once again, I want to encourage everyone to go to theblaze.com, check out the piece that Aaron co-authored with Leon Wolf. You guys both wrote this piece on Tommy Robinson. It is really comprehensive. It really explains a lot that you're not hearing from any other media outlets. And then don't forget, we have Overtime coming up next. You can only watch it video, not audio, but you want to see our faces. Come on, you can only watch it on blazetv.com. Use promo code NEWS for $10 off right now. We'll see you there.